Oh. Hi. I challenged myself to write hi. I challenged myself to write a short story in under an hour. This is the result. Lunchtime on the Overpass. They look like micro machines, the kind he used to play with when he was a kid. Little metal ants crawling to a smooth stop, then starting again, inching their way through the city. Tommy dusted off his hands on his pants and stomped the dust from his work boots. It was time for lunch, and it was common practice to get bits of debris in his sandwich. Today, he was determined that the only crunchy bite he would take would be from the potato chips he wedged between his bread. He ducked into the shadow of a large cement truck. The lumbering giant was slowly turning, helping him and his crew develop this brand new overpass the city had voted to construct years prior. Eating alone, as always, Tommy caught a glimpse through the side mirror of Sal, a young 20-year-old who had just joined the team, sitting in the AC listening to music in his headphones. Steve, the foreman, a man who had overseen it all, called for everyone to be back on in 30 minutes. Steve joined Deb, the safety officer, for lunch often. They would swap snacks that their kids no longer found cool. Steve would give Deb a sugary energy drink in exchange for some candy bar that last week was awesome, but this week had become dumb. Today was a bit different. When Steve and Deb asked Sal to join them in their scorching clique for lunch, Tommy found himself unexpectedly hurt. He had never been asked to lunch. He had always assumed everyone kept to themselves, did their work, ate their measly meals, and clocked out. Where was this sudden sense of camaraderie coming from? Tommy lifted himself from his makeshift hard hat chair, ventured over, and sat near their lunchtime semicircle. "Gonna be a long one, huh?" Tommy invited. Steve nodded in assurance, "Sure will," before turning back to Deb and Sal. "So usually, we all meet up at Brannigan's. They got a 2-for-1 cocktail happy hour. You should come." Tommy munched his sandwich, miffed at how they could ignore him so easily. He had worked with them for weeks. No one had ever mentioned happy hour, at least not out loud, or out loud to him. Tommy dug around his lunch pail, remembering he hadn't had time to eat the protein bar he had packed a few days before. It was a little smushed now, but edible and a combination of peanut butter and chocolate chip. This was his opportunity. "Hey, does anybody want this protein bar? I'm not gonna eat it. It's, He pretended not to know the flavor. "Chocolate chip and peanut butter?" Deb scoffed. "I have a peanut allergy." Deb hawked a loogie and spit it on the fresh strip of road. Sal smiled. "I'll take it." And with that, Tommy forked over his protein bar and watched Sal turn his back on him and lean back into the conversation with Steve and Deb. What is their problem? Tommy thought to himself. I'm a nice guy. I show up on time. I don't piss anyone off. I do my work. I'm interesting, I think. Oh God, am I interesting? Tommy scooted a few inches closer to Sal, Deb, and Steve and waited for a lull in their conversation. When the moment presented itself, he racked his brain for the deepest thought he could muster. Funny how we all spend our time building something that thousands of people will use to make their lives easier, and no one will ever know our names. Steve raised an eyebrow, unsure of how to reply. Tommy, now invested, continued. I mean, we're spending our whole lives making it easier for people to get somewhere else. Like, when you have to get somewhere else, it's like where you are isn't good enough. So, like, technically, we're helping people escape facing their own feelings of dissatisfaction. Kinda. Right? Deb, with dramatic flair, put her earplugs in, causing Steve and Sal to grab their guts in laughter. Tommy, hiding his embarrassment under his own chuckle, desperately tried to recover. I'm serious, do you not stop and think about what we're doing? Sal, the young gun, now nearly finished with the peanut butter chocolate chip protein bar, turned to speak to Tommy. You know, when I first took this job, it felt weird but powerful to be standing on a road. My whole life, my mama told me to never play in the road, but here I am, tons of cars and trucks every day whipping by me at 70 miles per hour. I feel like I'm not supposed to be here, but I am. That's kind of cool. Steve, the oldest, stretched his back and looked to the cloudy sky. I remember driving the first road I ever laid. Told my wife and kids that this was my road. They didn't seem to care all that much, but I remember the pride I took in it, so I guess I see your point. The men all turned to Deb, waiting for her to share a little something. She scratched the back of her neck and kicked at a bit of debris on the site and snorted. All I remember is, back on I-90 at mile marker 12, some of my blood and skin is gonna be in that road forever. And this job doesn't pay me near enough to deal with you bunch of assholes. They all cackled as they resumed their lunch, slurping away at the liquid in their thermoses, crumpling up their sandwich bags. Steve called out, "Break time's over!" Dusting themselves off to go back to clearing away dirt, Steve gave Tommy a quick slap on the back. "You should join us for happy hour at Brannigan's later." Tommy gave a smile and a nod. He put away his lunch pail and retied his shoes so they were tight on the bridge of his feet. Pulling some orange cones off the service truck to lay down on the temporary service road, Tommy noticed Deb, Sal, and Steve, taking a moment to look out at the tiny city below their overpass. As he passed by, he could hear Deb exclaim, "They look like micro machines." Alright, that's the story. I hope you enjoyed it. And be sure to follow my YouTube channel for longer content. Thanks. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.